this crazy world, it's so hard to unwind. So I'm taking time just for me. Gonna find my peace, let my soul be free. In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe and leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care friends and family. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so happy that you made space to be here today. Now, before we get into this episode, do me a quick favor. If you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and show us some love. Tap the screen, like, comment. Most importantly, I need you to share this out with someone who may need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe to our channel so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. Also, I want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch, as well as a ton of free resources to nourish your growth and remind you that you are supported every step of the way. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, I encourage you to give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, but most importantly for you. And if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop a green heart in the chat. It is our community's way of saying I am healing, I am growing, and I am showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Today's conversation is for anyone who has ever had the wind knocked out of them by loss. For the ones who learned how to function but quietly forgot how to feel. For the ones who still love deeply even after grief tried to convince them to shut down. See, when grief shatters your world, hope can feel impossible. Yet, God whispers a truth that we often can't see through the tears. And it's that death does not have the final say. Today, we are sitting down with Melinda Walker, author of When Grief Meets Hope, Death Does Not Have the Final Say. This is a tender, faith-filled conversation about loss, healing, and the God who meets us in our deepest valleys. This is not about rushing healing. This is not about pretending the pain away. This is about learning how to breathe again without erasing love. So wherever you are, I hope that you take a breath and know that you're safe here. Now, family, help me welcome Melinda Walker into the Room to Breathe. Hey, Queen.
Hello, Shantae, Life Coach 614.
Yes, either name is fine.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here today. I am so happy to have you here with us.
Happy to be here.
Yes. Now, so in our community, everybody's aware that I am very intentional with my questions. And I like to start things out by asking you, how's your soul today?
Well, when I think about your soul, it incorporates your mind, your will, and your emotions.
Yes.
My mind is sound. I have a sound mind. My will is coming into soundness. Every day, I'm intentional about my will and making decisions. And my emotions, they're in a good place. I have my times, but they're in a good place. So just to wrap it up, all is well in my soul. It is well.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, listen, when the spirit is aligned, all is well, right? Yes. So I guess as we start things, I always think about how every single story starts somewhere, right? And so for those of you, meeting you for the first time, how would you introduce yourself and the work and purpose that currently fuel your heart?
I would say my name is Melinda Walker. I'm the vision pusher.
Yes.
I would say that I'm your number one motivator. I'm your number one encourager. I will find that what works best for you. I will help you tell your truth and stand boldly in your truth. I'm your vision pusher.
Yeah, come on now. That's what I'm talking about. I absolutely love that.
I'm your
Love, love,
vision.
love it. Yes. And it's definitely an amazing thing, something that is so needed in society today because we got a lot of pushers, right? We got a lot of people hustling and pushing things and it's not
Right.
always good for us. So I love that it's the vision that you are moving forward,
Yes.
giving people sight when
Yes.
things have
Yes.
just been lost. So
Yes.
I understand the
I can
assignment,
bring them
sis.
back
I like
in.
it.
Yes. Bring
Yes.
them in.
Yes, I
Yes.
love that.
Mhm.
So, when I think about storytelling, you've described writing as your sanctuary, a place
Yes.
where healing, hope, and truth meet.
Yes.
When did writing shift from something that you did to something that actually carried you?
Well, hmm, I think when I was just writing chapters, I was writing from a different place because I started writing in other people's book when I was writing just a chapter, and I would just write basic information with a little experience. I would throw myself in there and be transparent here and there. But when I decided to write my own book outside of anybody else, that's when writing became healing. Writing became deliverance. Writing became my secret place where I can actually pour it all out. I did not know how deliverance would be so strong until I started having to go back to some painful memories, and instead of pushing them under the rug, actually dealing with them. And it was okay. I gave myself permission to cry, to be angry, to feel everything that I needed to feel, put it on paper, and I gave myself permission to move on. So when I wrote my very first book on my own, that's when writing became more real to me. It
Yeah.
was more than just writing. It was my healing place.
Yeah, it's something so sweet about self care because to me, that's what I hear, in that story. And it's to me, like I said, something I think is so sweet about when someone does that shadow work or that mirror work, when you start to
Yeah.
sit alone with yourself. You know what I mean? You start to see
Yeah.
things differently, and it gives you the opportunity to actually show up as you, not the person that
Yes.
everybody else wants you to be. So
Yes.
I
Honest
love that.
reflection. Yes.
Absolutely. That's
Yes.
what I'm trying to say. Yes, that
Yes.
honest
Honest
reflection.
reflection. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, that personal journey that you went on now also shapes how you serve others.
Right.
Through your Stand in Truth publications, you help others discover their voice. How
Yeah.
has your own story influenced the way that you now hold space for other people's healing and storytelling?
It gives me a lot of more empathy when it comes to people's story. And I always let them know, I will pull your story out of you. You don't have to call names. It's not to bash anyone. It's for you. It's for your healing. You can even word it in a way where you don't even have to mention the person, because I always tell them that it's not about the other person. This is about you. This is what you've learned. This is how you've overcome. This is how you had to forgive. It's not about the other person. We're not here to bash them. We're here to tell your story to help someone else that may be going through what you have been through and what you're going through.
Yes. And so, thinking about your book, I know that that
Mm.
wasn't written from distance or hindsight. It was written from
Right.
inside the fire, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
and
Yes.
that title alone holds tension and tenderness.
Mhm.
When grief meets hope is such a powerful title.
Yes.
What moment or realization helped you understand that grief and hope could coexist in the same
Can't go and
space?
see it. I had to learn that you can be happy and sad at the same time. And you can have good things happening in your life, and then on the other hand, you going through grief. But I found out going through this experience that it can coexist. I lost my mom first, and then I was healing from that, and having little small celebrations. One day I was on the phone with a caller, and I work with people that are sick, and she was going through a life-threatening illness, but you couldn't tell, and she had a lot of joy, and she didn't know I just had lost my mom, and she said, "Baby, I find the little things to celebrate." She said, "I celebrate the little things." And when she said that, my eyes popped open, and I started grabbing on to hope right then, because she had a lot of losses in her life. She's going through this debilitating illness that could kill her if the Lord didn't heal her. She could die. And she still has this hope in this light in her. And when she said that, it gave me a glimpse of hope. That's when my hope started rising at that time. And then I got my braces off. I got my braces off in February after wearing them for almost 3.5 years. So I got my braces off. That was another celebration. I published my granddaughter's first children's book. That was another celebration. Then they chose me for this big event called Aspire. You have to be really good at your job, performing very well out of thousands of people, to go to Disney World in Orlando, once in a lifetime that you get chosen. I was excited at that point, but in the midst of that, they chose me in February as well, as when I got my braces. So I had a great month in February of 2025, last year. Yeah. And then when they chose me, the next month in March, I lose my sister. So now my wind is knocked out of me. I didn't feel like joy and sadness could coexist, grief and hope. I was back to square one. But something on the inside of me said, you should go. You still should go. Yeah. So that is how my book was birthed. That is how the title was birthed. When I got to Orlando, it first started when they started sending me things in the mail. They sent everything that I needed for this trip. Even a tag to keep my luggage where I know where my luggage is at all times, the itinerary, somebody to pick me up. Even when I got to the airport, everything was just in line. Bought my ticket, had people with signs there waiting on me when I got there. This nice vehicle to take me to our yacht where we stayed at. It was just amazing. They treated me so well. My job treated me so well. The people treated me so well. They gave a space for me to grieve at the conference, and they just hugged me and rallied around me. And my hope was heightened at another level. Even though I was grieving, there was also hope. And the Lord gave me the title of my book right then, is When Grief Meets Hope, and that death does not have the final say when it comes to my life, my emotions, me moving forward. I still have to be able to move forward. And it's not saying that I don't love my lost ones, but I still have to be able to live. So that's how I got the title.
Yeah. And I can really resonate with all of that, because I know when my father passed away, it was shortly after I had gotten married. I was married in October of 2017, and my father passed away March of 2018. Mm-hmm. And so it, knocked the wind out of me, because it literally, while I'm going through, his transition, I'm supposed to be getting ready to go on my honeymoon. And I'm literally, like, I can even remember now, we left shortly after his memorial service. And I was like, my husband's like, do you want to cancel? Do you want to do this? And he's so understanding. And I'm like, thank God for this man, because we finna throw all your money away. But he was just like, it's up to you. And I was like, I want to go. I was like, I want to go, because I need to get away from here. Like, I needed that escape. And for me, that joy happened sitting on the balcony, watching the sunrise and the sunset. And just having that solo moment to myself, So I really do understand what happens when you feel hope come back when you're grieving. And I can only imagine, writing something this honest requires you to listen closely. and not just to your pain, but to God's invitation within it.
Yes. Yes.
When you began writing When Grief Meets Hope, what did you sense God was inviting you to release onto the pages?
He was inviting me to release every emotion, to be strictly transparent about my process, because I know it's not something new, but it's new to me. This was new to me. I lost my dad when I was 7. I lost my grandmother years ago. She lived her life. She was in her 80s when she passed away. Those were the only two people closest to me that I've lost in this journey. And when I was too young to really understand, when I lost my dad, I was young. So, and then I lost my mom and my sister less than a year apart. It was like back to back. I didn't get a chance to breathe or fully grieve my mom before I lost my own. She was my only sister with my mom. It was just me and her.
Yeah.
So to put that on pages, it was a journey for me.
Yeah.
It was a journey. I did it in their honor because I
Yeah.
believe that it will help someone else to know that there is life after death. When I say
Yeah.
death, not meaning a physical death, but emotionally, mentally, every area, just death.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, it demanded a certain level of vulnerability.
Dead.
Because that's, to me, was the hardest part of any grief that I've ever experienced, be it losing a person or shedding layers of
Yeah.
me during my healing, being
Yes.
vulnerable, during your transparency, it does something to you, and I think a lot of people fear it because, society likes to, label you as this or that, while
Yes.
you're going through what you're going through. But at the end of the
Yes.
day, you're just healing out loud. That's all it is,
Thank
right?
And it's okay. That's what I'm saying, Shantae. I say it all the time. I'm sorry if I offend you if I'm healing out loud, but this is
Mhm.
my way. This is
Yeah,
my way to heal out loud.
yeah.
This is
And
my
that
way.
and that's the beauty, God gives us that free will. So you do
Yeah.
your healing on your terms. Let me
Yes.
heal how I'm gonna heal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
And
it's okay. It's a part in the book that talks about my lamenting. I choose to lament in my secret place now. You know, I'm not going to lament out loud where the world could see me and judge me. I have my place where I do my lamenting,
yeah.
and you all get a chance to see the joy of me, and God gets to see the lamenting. I do it with Him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it is very important, even because I'm a firm believer in healing out loud, but people need to understand that there is still levels to it.
Yes.
There's I'm a firm believer of transparency, but I'm
Mhm.
also a huge believer in privacy, and you
Mhm.
have to determine the difference.
Mhm.
You can't let society dictate what you're transparent about.
Man.
You have to say, hey, these are my boundaries, and that is a private moment for me.
Mhm.
Especially in this age of social media where everybody puts everything out there. And I
Yes.
think that gift and a curse. But grief is just one of those deeply personal topics, and it's always something that I try to move gently into. I
Mhm.
call myself an awkward griever because I know what works for me, and I'm not a
Yes.
person to tell somebody else, "Oh, you do this," because that might not work
Right.
for you. So I'm an
That's
awkward
right.
griever. I like to go off and be on my own, and do what
Yes.
I need to do for me. Um,
Yes.
and
Man.
so it's important for me, as we continue in this conversation, because it is going to be centered around the book, which talks a lot about the grieving process. And so I just want to remind you that you don't owe us any details, only what feels true and safe for you to share.
Yeah.
Um, and so I know in our conversations, you shared how you've walked through a season of profound loss. When you think back to that time, what feels most important for you to share about how grief showed up in your life?
It's important for me to share that grief has levels. It is a process, and it's okay to grieve at your own pace. It's okay to grieve at your own pace. Everybody grieve differently. They grieve as individuals. It's not like a corporate thing where everybody grieve the same. I give myself permission, and I tell others, give them permission. You heal at your pace. It's levels, as you stated. It's most definitely a process. It's a succession of events that one day may bring about a desired end, but some people never get over the grieving process. It doesn't ever end. It just gets better for you to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, I hold on to the memories. Some things I still can't do. I can look at their pictures, but I can't listen to their voice yet. I'm not there yet. Like the voicemail, can't do that yet.
Yeah.
I can look at their pictures finally.
Yeah. And as you stated, it takes time. And, loss doesn't just break hearts, it often reshapes faith in ways that we never expected. I think that many people struggle with their relationship with God, after loss. If you don't mind me asking, what was your relationship with God like during that season of grief?
If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in my right mind. I actually got closer to God. My relationship with him got stronger because he kind of warned me. He kind of showed me when it came to my sister. He kind of showed me. I had dreams, so it just didn't happen. Like with my sister, I just didn't know who it was going to be. But now that it's over, I recognize that he was preparing me. Like with my mom, it was a shock. I didn't expect it, even though she was 71. She had just turned 71 when she passed. So it was like the Lord gave you 70 years. So she kind of lived her life, even though it was still a shock. My sister was in her 50s, but I had a dream before my sister passed away. I had two dreams. One of my dreams was one of my childhood friends, and she was in the dream, and she had these breathing things and tubes in her nose, and she was barely breathing. She didn't die or anything, but she was having a hard time breathing. And that triggered something. And then a few months afterwards, I had this dream about, it was me in the dream, and it was this big old purple tree, big old nice purple tree. And then this bird flew into this tree. And then when he came down as this purple horse. And then the purple horse, we was at somebody's stable, and I was outside of the stable, and the horse was just free, was just jumping up, and was just free. And then when I tried to go into where the horse wouldn't allow me. So I would move, the horse would move. The horse was free, but I was restricted from going over the fence or going into where the horse was. Yeah. And then when my sister passed away, and my nephew told me that the colors were purple, I understood the dream. My sister was the horse, and now she's free, and I couldn't go with her.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is such a powerful story, and how you were able to then understand it. I think that a lot of times we rush to understand something, and some things just have to kind of happen naturally. And yeah, that kind of hindsight, we look back and we're like, oh, that's why this had to happen.
And I told that story at her homegoing.
Yeah,
I told it at my sister's homegoing.
Yeah, not a dry eye in the building from that story, because it does something. Yeah. And so, when I think about hope doesn't usually arrive all at once, and it's not loud. I think that it's sometimes quiet, slowly, in moments that we almost miss. Mm-hmm. You share that hope is not the absence of pain, but the strength to carry it differently.
Yes.
What did that look like for you in real time?
Like you stated, it's not the absence of pain, but you learn how to carry that pain differently. You learn a strength that you never thought you had. You learn what true joy is, not happiness, because all around me is sadness, but you learn what the joy of the Lord is that will give you strength. You learn how to carry the pain differently. You learn how to carry the pain with strength, with dignity. You learn how to carry it with grace, and most definitely with the Lord as your guide. He's the one that's my helper. He strengthens me. It's
Amen.
not the absence of pain, because I feel it every day. I have moments every day, but I learn how to bow my neck, as they say, and keep it moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that people really need to, understand that a lot of what we fear um is something. What do they say? Fear is false evidence appearing real, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we are afraid a lot of times to grieve. We are afraid to heal. For some people the grief process is shorter than for others, and I think that some people are even afraid to grieve like in their terms because they feel like I haven't been sad long enough. Or if you see a widow soon after, losing her husband, for
yeah,
example,
yeah.
people are like, she already moved on again. She's already doing this. And I'm like, get out that woman's business.
I
Like,
know. They have no clue what she's going through, you
yeah.
know. Right.
Yeah. And so I think, one of the deepest fears that people carry is that healing means leaving their loved ones behind or betraying the depth of their love. And so people hold on, even when that grief may have expired for them,
Mhm.
they still hold on to that. And so I'm curious, how did you come to the understanding that healing didn't mean, forgetting your mother or your sister, but in honoring their love by choosing to live, to live again?
I believe that's what they would want me to do. I don't think that they would want me to be here in this depression, because you have to think about it. I still have a husband, I still have children, I still have grandchildren. I still have to move forward. And sometimes your family, I don't want to say depends on you, but if you're the strong one in the family, that's the praying one, that's standing in the gap, you can't afford not to still be watchful. You know, when it comes to your family, you still have to stand on the wall. Even though you're going through a tough time, I still have to be able to move forward. I was left here because there was a moment when I had a moment, and I asked God, why am I still here? My
Yeah.
whole family, whatever, everything that I knew growing up is gone. Why am I still here? And he told me, I'm not done with you yet. He
Yeah.
said, I'm not done yet. And when he told me that, like I'm doing now, I just had to suck it up,
Yeah.
wipe them tears, and understand that if I'm still here on this side, there is still purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There's people to encourage. It's still people to pull out the fire. I still got to be about my father's business.
Yeah. There's still work to be done.
Still
Right.
work to
Yeah. I tell myself that every single day. If I wake up and I got breath in my lungs, there is still work to be done. There is
work to
still
be done.
more for me to do.
Right.
Absolutely. Um, and
Yeah.
I think that as a way of clarifying what truly matters, even as it strips away what no longer does. And so, looking back, what did grief strip away from you, and what did it reveal to you about faith and family and purpose?
Ah, grief stripped away. Try to put it into words. When it comes to your family and your loved ones, you don't have time like you think you do. So it stripped away of like wasting time
Yeah.
loving on your loved ones, doing all that you're supposed to do on this side before you go off course, before you go to the other side. It kind of put fuel to my feet as to you don't know the time, the day, or the hour. And when it's over, it's over. It kind of opened my eyes to it can happen to you, meaning me, and it can happen at any time. It's just
Yeah.
it really captured the saying when it says you need to be ready.
Yeah.
You got to be ready because when
Yeah.
it's over, it's over. So I want to
Yeah.
be able, when he asked me, what did you do with what I gave you? What did you do with that purpose that I gave you? I want to be able to hear him say, well done, and not depart from me because I didn't do all that I am supposed to do. And sometimes you get wrapped up in your emotions and you get stuck. I don't want to get stuck in grief and stuck in bitterness. I don't have time to be bitter toward the one that wakes me up every day.
Yeah.
I can't. I just don't have time. I'm not bitter towards God at all because the situation. There was a lot of situations in on the back end with my family, with my mom and my sister. It was a lot that I didn't deal with in the book because it's family stuff. But
Yeah.
after my mom passed away, he didn't tell me before, but he told me after that this is the end of an era. Didn't quite understand what he meant, didn't quite understand, but for years it's been this tension in the family about certain stuff, and it's been going on for years and years and years. And he spoke to me and told me this is the end of an era. And the next thing, my sister passed away. And when that happened, I understood what he meant then when he said this is the end of an era. It
Yeah.
had to come to an end. It's deep.
Yeah. No, I mean, and again, that just speaks to how many levels there are to, every single thing that we go through.
Yes.
It's all a form of healing, and I tell people healing is not for the weak.
Uh,
And I know for me, I think our time on earth, I look at it as I'm waiting in line,
yeah.
to get up there. And so I don't have time to get to the gate, honey, and be stuttering and fumbling over my words like, oh, my name is Shante, let me in. Like, I
I
did
mean,
this. When he asked me the question, I just want to be like,
be
first of all,
confident. Yes.
like, let me tell you what I did, guys.
Shante
Like,
said, first of all,
so I fumbled a little in the beginning, but I got my life
yeah,
together, you know?
yeah,
Like I want to
yeah,
be able to come up there and tell that story.
yeah,
Not like I missed any part of it, but
right.
yeah, it's
I
like we
agree.
reach a point where we can't write it off for being young and dumb. You know,
Right,
I can
right.
say, I became a woman, I put them childish things away like the good book told
Yes,
me to
yes,
do.
yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah. And that also makes me think in healing, because I'm a big self-care advocate,
Yes.
and healing, that's my jam. Like if I could just knight everybody and like
Yes,
you're
yes,
healed, not trying to be the savior, but just getting people to understand
yes.
like healing is amazing. um
It is.
but
It
I think
is.
that so many people feel pressure to heal correctly or on a timeline that doesn't belong to them. You share that healing isn't linear.
It's
How
not.
did learn to give yourself permission for both tears and moments of joy, while understanding that those two things can exist together?
I just feel like when you go through hard situations like that, you have to give yourself grace. I give myself grace because I didn't ask for the grief. Lord knows if I could do it all over, I wouldn't choose this for myself. I couldn't believe it. I just said, can't believe, I'm going through this, and then my life as a whole has not been an easy path. For the last 3 years has been one thing after the other for me. So healing is not for the faint of heart, as you stated, but every day I wake up and I give myself permission, as I stated before, to heal at my own pace. No
Yes.
one could rush me into healing. We can't rush people into healing. Some people, they will put a timeline on you and say, I think you may have cried enough. That's why I chose to lament in my secret place. You don't get a chance to tell me that I've cried too much, because guess what? You won't see it. Not often. You won't see it unless you're close to me. Then you may see it. I give myself permission to heal. And that was hard at first.
Yeah. That permission, that is a very difficult thing at any level of your healing. Because a lot of times I think, for some people, I think they seek the external permission, but I think moreover, it's the internal permission, the permission that we don't give ourselves. We trap ourselves in that. And so, in thinking about the seasons, because I think that everything that we go through happens in seasons. So in seasons where peace felt far away, faith often becomes the bridge that we step onto without seeing the full path. It's like, God, I don't know what you're about to do next, because I'm still trying to figure out what you just did, but I'm gonna use my faith, walk by faith, not by sight. And so I know that you described faith as the bridge between pain and peace. What practices or promises or maybe moments helped you cross that bridge?
Well, practices, I can say that I'm a nature person. Absolutely love the outside. So when I go on my walks, I've been and walked 5 miles before I know it. It's my peaceful place. I stay around lakes. So I'm like surrounded by lakes. So that's every day. It's my peaceful place. I'm able to go there and breathe. I'm able to go there and cry if I want to, because most of the time I'm by myself. That's one practice. Walking in nature, talking with God. Another practice is praying, having my intimate time with the Lord, the word of God, standing on his word when it comes to healing. He says, heal, I will heal you and you will be healed. I save you, you shall be saved. I just stand on his word when it comes to healing. So practices is one thing. And what was the other that you asked? Practices and...
Yeah, no problem. The other, I said, maybe promises or moments. And I think you honestly kind of summed all of that in there. Yeah. And I love that those were very mindful moments. They're very spiritual, even for people who may not be religious, it's something about going out and reconnecting with nature, that grounding, putting your feet in the dirt, going out and letting the sunshine wash over you, things like that. It's so very much therapeutic. And something that I think we tend to take for granted. That whole phrase, stop and smell the roses. It's a real thing, y'all. Like,
it's a real thing. It is.
Yeah. I know for me, like, I'm not a nature girl, but I'm attracted to the nature. And I'm not a bug girl. That's what it is. I don't like bugs and things like that. But I am definitely attracted to the nature. It's the same, like, I can't swim, but I love the water.
I love the water.
And so it's one of those things where my happy place is, I'll drive over. We have a beautiful park nearby my home. And so I will drive over to the park and I will sit in my car. I will crack my window if I'm feeling a little bold in that moment. But I will just sit in the park and just enjoy the view. And I watch the trees or the birds or just people, walking their dog. Like, I just enjoy nature. And then maybe I'll get out and stand in the grass for a second and then put my shoes back on, just a little taste. But just even doing little things like that, I know brings me joy. And it's something about just that quiet, to hear the wind, through the trees, or, just hear nature, in its natural form. I love that the two things that you shared were very intentional and very grounding, but so very simple. It doesn't take a dollar amount. You don't have to worry about wait until you get days off or vacation time. Like those are
Right.
things that you can do at
Yes.
any given moment to ground yourself. So I love that. Um, and so, even after loss, love doesn't disappear, right? It just finds new ways to live. And so I know that you wrote that love never dies.
Never
How do
dies.
you see the love that you shared with your mother and your sister continuing to live today?
Right. One of my chapters, when never turns into always. I will
Mm,
always have my mom's smile. You know, I'm going to always look like my mom. I'm going to always have the characteristics of my sister. The memories will never die. Right before my sister died, that December, I went down and it was just on me so strong to just go and pick her up. I went and picked her up and we went to my godmama's house, which she's older, and we just kikied, and I mean we laughed so hard. That was the last time that I was with her, and the memory of that, how we just laughed, and I got it on video where we just laughed and laughed. I have my memories.
yeah.
I have memories of when we grew up. I can still hear her sister, I know her voice, and my
Mhm.
mom. I didn't know you look so much like me. Nah, baby. I still have my memories.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that, and I think that's why it's so important for us to make the memories, right?
Yeah.
Take take the pictures,
Yes.
record
Yes.
the get-togethers,
Yes.
take the trips, like do all the things,
Yes.
because it's in those memories that we get to heal. That those are the things that
Right.
we get to hold on to. Again,
Yes.
I shared with my dad there was about a 5 or 6 day period when everything was transitioning for him, and I got to enjoy every moment of that with him. I stayed in the hospital with him the entire
Mhm.
time, and I would go home once a day to shower and change my clothes and check in on my husband and my son,
Mhm.
um, and to have a moment of normal,
Yes.
because that was definitely needed in that.
Yes.
Um, but I was able to let go as I needed to, because my
Mhm.
dad left me in charge. And so there was work that I needed to do to prepare
Right.
everybody else. And, I was able to do that without a lot of times when we lose a loved one, especially when it's step by step like that, when there's some sort of illness or something going on, um, we fight to say, no, you do this to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
You do this. And
Yeah.
I was able to comfortably say, we're not doing that anymore, and stop
Right.
that because
Yeah.
it's time. I'm like, there was a point of peace that washed over me to say, it's between him and God now. Like,
Yep.
let's let this happen.
Yep.
um and so, yeah, I think that we all, we have those moments, and if it wasn't for the memories and the time that I got to spend, I don't think that I would have been able to do that.
Right.
And even though to this day I still grieve, I'm a daddy's girl, so
Right.
it's still a very big part. And it's like
Right.
there are still moments where something happens and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, dang, I can't call
Like,
him,
yeah. Yeah.
but I can still tell him, and so it's like
Yeah.
I have to kind of shift that. But again, if it wasn't for the memories, I don't even know where I would be.
Right.
God would
Right.
be still dragging me through the mud
Right.
because I would be
Need those
content in
memories.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Lord
And
Jesus.
so, yeah. For many listeners, hope feels like too big of a word, right? Sometimes just getting through the day is the victory, right? Like, I got out of bed today, take it or leave it.
Yes.
Um, so for someone listening who feels breathless in their own grief, what does
Mhm.
choosing hope look like one day or even one moment at a time?
Choosing hope is a decision that you want to live. When you choose hope, you're choosing you. You're choosing to live. You're choosing and giving yourself permission to live, permission to breathe, permission to move forward. Hope comes in glimpses. So it's okay if one day you're hopeful and you're feeling all vibrant and you're happy, full of joy, and it's okay, even if it's the next minute you're going through a moment. So what I would tell you is have your moments,
Yes.
have your moments, but it's up to you to make the decision to allow hope to be a part of your life. You have to choose hope. You have to choose hope. Hope is there. But if you don't choose hope, depression is also there. Anger is also there. Bitterness is also there. Having thoughts of wanting to leave here is also there. So it's up to you to make the decision, especially if you have families that are dependent on you to pull through. You know, you may be the matriarch of the family. They're dependent on you to be strong. So you have to make the decision to choose hope because hope is there, waiting for you to choose hope. And your hope can meet your grief. And when hope meet grief, then there is a purpose for you to keep moving forward. That's your sign. That's your sign. God is not done yet. God is
Yes.
not done.
Absolutely. Now, as we begin to close, I want to slow things down, one last time because this book wasn't just written to be read, right? It was written to be felt. So I want to give you the floor to share what when grief meets hope, death does not have the final say, truly means to you and what you hope readers carry with them after they close the last page. Whether they're grieving deeply, questioning their faith, or simply trying to learn how to breathe again. What do you want them to know?
I want you to know that when grief meet hope, it was birthed out of pain. But at the end of the day, if you allow your grief to meet hope, it will give you a new determination. You probably won't be the same person after loss, but it would either make you bitter or better. So for me, I chose the better, and I would say for you to choose the better. It will make you a better person after you have, it says, suffer for a while in First Peter. After you have suffered for a while, God will come in and He will settle you. He will make you perfect, meaning He will make you whole in that area of grief where at one time you felt like you could not make it. That weak place will become your strong place because God will place people in your life just like yourself. When you overcome, you can be able to let them know that this is what happened in my life. If I can overcome it, so can you. I would tell you to take your journey day by day, step by step. Let the Lord lead you and guide you into every place that He will take you to because this now has become a ministry. It's not something that I chose. I would never choose it again, but because I'm here now. You may be here now. The question is, what are you going to do with your grief? What are you going to do with your grief? Is you going to allow your grief to turn you bitter? Are you going to allow your grief to make you better? Are you going to are you going to allow God to turn your ashes into beauty? As they say, beauty for ashes. It's up to us what we're going to do when it comes to our grief. I chose just like the phoenix. Phoenix is a bird that will burn up. You would think the phoenix is gone and out of here and dead, but the phoenix is the only bird that will rise from the ashes. That will rise from the ashes. So that's why I chose the phoenix because God will give you beauty for those ashes. Right when the enemy thought he had you, but just like the bird out of the mouth of the fowler, you have escaped. Your help, your strength is in the name of the Lord. So allow your grief to meet hope, to meet hope. And if your grief can meet hope, then it gives you a new reason to live again and not just to live defeated and to live emotionally, but be able to bow your neck and keep moving, even if you're on the inside. You may be hurting, but you can't let them see you sweat. You got to keep it moving. You got to keep it moving.
Amen. Listen, she rose anyway.
She rose
Right?
in it.
She rose
Praise the
anyway.
Lord. Anyway,
Anyway. And so I know that the book just released this week. Can you let
yes.
our listeners know how they can find your book and,
Yes.
explore other works and stay connected with you and the mission of Stand in Truth Publications?
Yes, you can get the book off of Amazon. So you can go to Amazon and type in When Grief Meets Hope. And you can type in my name, Melinda Walker. You'll be able to get the book. You'll be able to get the book. And you also will be able to get it on ebook if you would like. So you can do either or. You can always connect with me on Instagram, Coming Full Circle, TikTok at Getting Back to Her, LinkedIn at Melinda Walker, and also on Facebook, Vision Pusher Walker. So you can always connect with me on any platform.
Absolutely. And you guys, as always, I'm going to have all of the links included in the description below. So don't worry, I got you. And thank you so much for having the e-versions because I'm a Kindle girly and
Yes.
I love, love, love having my Kindle books.
Yes, on ebook.
Yes, yes. So I want to take this opportunity, Melinda, to thank you for your presence in this
Thank
space and
you.
for trusting us with your story. I
Yes.
really believe that the way that you share your journey with honesty and faith and tenderness really creates room for so many people to feel seen and held and understood. I believe that your words remind us that grief and hope can
And
exist together.
yes. Yes.
Yes, even in our deepest, darkest valleys. And,
Yes.
it's just a reminder that God is still near.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are
Man.
deeply grateful for breath, right? For the
Yes.
wisdom and for the light that you brought into the room today. So I
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Now, family, if this conversation touched a place that you've been holding quietly, I want you to hear this. Grief is real, but so is hope, and death does not get the final word. If you're still learning how to breathe again, you're not behind. If you're still believing and breaking at the same time, you're not weak. You're just healing. I hope that you sit with this episode, journal anything that may have come up, and pray honestly. Remember, God is still writing beauty from ashes. Now, before we part ways, I want to leave you all with a little love and light. As always, I encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every moment in between. I want you to keep choosing peace even when it feels out of reach. And know that here at the Self Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life, and I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you all again soon. Thank you.
Me, I